Washington to Beijing, Moscow to Abuja, London to Kigali. The world is shifting fast. Elections are shaping destinies. Wars are redrawing borders. Economies are rising and falling. And global alliances are being tested like never before. But what does it all mean for you?
With a new administration and a new president in the White House trying to put an end to the war.
I didn't know the historical context, what the state of Israel means for them.
Join the fearless Ireti Bakare-Yusuf on Borderlines every Friday at 4 p.m. on Nigeria Info 99.3. As she dissects the biggest global events and their impact on world peace.
Those who are not familiar with Israel or the war itself would not know much about the group breaking the silence.
No spin, no propaganda, just deep insights and fearless conversations on the geopolitics shaping our world.
People who will call and start telling you about the Bible prophecy about America and everything. See, America is not in the Bible.
There's some people who, yes, they share the ideology of, yes, we and these people, we are equal, but they can't speak up.
Borderlines on Nigeria Info every Friday at 4 p.m. The world is changing. Don't just watch, understand it. Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
And it's a good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're joining us from in the diaspora, Nigeria, I don't know, Europe, wherever. Here we now have, in fact, I understand we also have listeners and followers in Austria. Welcome to Borderlines, the only show that takes you beyond borders. We have for you an incredibly packed show today. We're going to be crossing 3 borders. The first one is, yes, you guessed it, or perhaps you didn't. We're crossing to Cameroon. You should all know what's going on in Cameroon by now, especially since most of you listeners are also into geopolitics. Paul Biya is easily now the world's longest running, I was about to say monarch, but we must be polite and call him president, loosely. That word I used loosely. So recently, an election took place. It was last week. And yet again, the almost 100 years old Paul Biya, let's just call him a century. What's a couple of years? Right, has been declared winner again and again and again. Given that my age is I'm in my mid-50s, as you all know, just imagine. Practically for most of my life, Paul Biya has been the president of Cameroon. Take that in whilst I introduce my guest. She's a journalist, she's a communication strategist, but most importantly, she is Cameroonian, and she was on ground when all the madness was taking place. She's also a dear sister of mine, and I haven't spoken to her for a long time. So it's an absolute pleasure to have her with me. Her name, to the rest of you, is Kathleen Ndongmo. Kathleen, welcome to Borderlines.
Thank you so much, Ireti. It's a pleasure being here.
No, the pleasure's ours. Look, so you are on ground. Let's start from there because you've only got 25, 30 minutes or so. You are on ground. Whilst the elections were going on, what did you see? Just even from there, what did you see? What could you make out? What was your analysis? Let's start from there.
So before I start, I'm wearing black today. It's Friday in Black. One of those movements from a civil society organization called Stand Up for Cameroon that has been focusing on grassroots movements. We wear black every Friday to decry the autocracy, the repression, the stagnation, and the complete lack of growth in Cameroon. And today, specifically, we're wearing black because we have a record over 25 people who've been shot dead and over 500 people arrested in the last 5 days of unrest. So really and truly, our heart goes out to their families and even to those who are still looking for victims, even those who are arrested. There's mothers who've been crying on the street looking for their kids and they can't find them. To your question, I was on the ground covering the election, and one of the most interesting things that struck me when I got there, I spoke with a diverse segment of people. And the one thing that came across from every single person that I spoke with, or at least a majority of people that I spoke with, was that we want change. One person told me that even if the devil will be enough to take Biya out, I will vote for the devil. That's how strong and passionate and committed people were to ensuring that this regime leaves. And so there was also the sense, not the sense, but the fact that a record number of people had registered to vote for these particular elections, over 40% increase from the former 2018 elections, and most of them young people. So that was the second thing that stood out, that more and more people had registered and more people were committed. The apathy of going to the polls had kind of dissipated. And then lastly, one of the most important things that stood out to me was that people were just fed up. People were fed up of every single thing that has happened, especially the young people who 35% of them, 50% of them below 35 are in the informal working sector. So the sense that we had on the ground was that there's going to be a political shift through elections or not, Ireti.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So that's what we got on the ground.
That's what you got. Right.
Go ahead, please.
So now let's talk about the opposition. The opposition is Chiroma Bakare, no relation to me, if I may add, people, spelt differently. He's also a former minister of Biya's government. Doesn't look too young either. So what's this all about? Is this a case of Cameroon? Yes, you talked about the young people, the vast majority of whom are young people, who are demanding for change, who have registered to vote. Are they stuck in a quagmire? Are they stuck in a trap of repeating everything to do with Biya, even if it's not a Biya?
So in the first instance, Chiroma is 74.
There you go.
He's been in government for over 25 years, a two-time minister, and most significantly, a government spokesperson. So he was Minister for Communications and literally the mouthpiece of the government. During the electoral process of accrediting candidates, the former political opposition contender, Maurice Kamto, who had run in the 2018 election and was the challenger at the time, came second, so they said, also put his candidature in. And unfortunately, by a technicality, which is really institutional manipulation, was banned from running. They didn't see Issa Chiroma coming. A lot of people have said the government didn't see that an insider, a two-time minister, a staunch stalwart of the ruling party, and more importantly, a bastion of the north. Mind you, it is said that the north of Cameroon has always been 40% bringing in votes from that region to the ruling party in the last 4 decades. And so these people, Issa Chiroma Bakare, Buba Bello, Maigari, these guys who then became opposition members and challengers, come from the north and really destabilized the ruling parties. The ruling parties, what would I call it now?
Well, their structure?
Strategy.
Yeah.
The structure or the strategy that they would have employed. So literally by banning Maurice Kamto, who comes from the west, they didn't see Chiroma coming. Nobody also thought that the populace will rally behind Chiroma, as he has never been an opposition candidate. He has always been a government spokesperson. He has always been a ruling party stalwart. And so the belief was that nothing is going to come from this guy. People don't like him. People have not liked him as a spokesperson. An incident that happened, and a shooting of mothers and children in the north a couple of years ago, which the BBC showcased as proof of Cameroon's gendarmerie, that's the security force shooting, was defended by him and got him a lot of backlash from the country. And so nobody thought that anyone would want to rally behind this guy. Literally, the government underestimated the guy. And so the election comes, and here we are. He's the strongest challenger. He's the guy that everyone is rallying behind. And the North, that is a majority ruling party region, has now been captured by him. And he's standing strong on his stance that he won the election, and he has to deliver the Cameroonian people from the ruling regime's 4 decades of power.
Okay, it came out of surprise. Nobody expected him, but he's won. First of all, let me ask, are the votes legitimate, the votes that he got? Would you say they're legitimate votes? I can see you're smiling. Because it's worth asking that question.
It is worth asking that question. Let me give you some context on Cameroon's, the belief and the reason why the trust in the institution and the electoral process specifically has waned over the years. Paul Biya came into power in 1982 as power being passed onto him. He didn't run for an election. Power was literally passed from the first president, who spent about 20 years in the presidency, right on to Paul Biya. In 1984, he then stood again and won by 100%. There was no election because there was only a uni-party state. There wasn't any multi-partyism in 1984. The same thing happened in 1988. No multi-partyism. Multi-partyism came in Cameroon in 1990. And then the real multi-party election happened in 1992. That election was widely contested, and the outcome of that election brought to fore one of the biggest opposition challengers called John Frundi, who is now late, and who became the eye of the storm of the ruling party, because he's from the Anglophone speaking region, where they had already begun clamoring for secession due to perceived systemic marginalization. That was 1992.
Oops. Oh, the network. Excuse me. The network seems to have frozen just at the important time. The technical people are trying to. Right. Okay, you're back. Are you back, Kathleen?
Okay. The Constitutional Council only came decades later. By 2008, the president changed the term limits. He should have gone long time ago, but he changed term limits in 2008, changed the constitution, and by 2011, when the next presidential election was happening, no one trusted that the ruling regime would actually give us fair and transparent elections, because one, the electoral body everyone in the electoral body is nominated and appointed by the president. The institutions and the heads of those institutions are nominated and appointed by the president. A lot of these nominees are ruling party stalwarts. The current Constitutional Council has 11 members who were all nominated by the president. The majority of them are ruling party stalwarts. So to your question, nobody believes that the 2018 election in the first place was free and fair. And this one in particular is much more contested because from 2017, there's been a crisis in the Anglophone regions of the country, 2 of the regions of the 10 regions of the country. 6 weeks before the election, these regions were under a lockdown, a ghost town where no one was allowed to go out, or businesses allowed, or commercial activities allowed to operate. So people are asking the question, how come you had 100% in these regions, over 800% growth of votes between 2018 and 2025 in these regions? Ireti Bakare and his team, as well as some other independent platforms, technology facing platforms have come out with authentic results that were taken on the day of the counting of the votes and said, hey, it is not plausible that the ruling party could have won this election in any way, shape, or form.
Indeed. So, I know you guys are going to want to ask questions. I've only got Kathleen for another sort of 10 minutes because we only get 30 minutes because we're trying to fit in quite a lot this show on this edition. You can call up, preferably send your messages or your questions to 0809 597 5805. If you must call and I'm able to open up the line for the last 5 minutes, 0201 277 0993 0201 465 190. They've already started calling, so let me sneak in my question, my big question. Given where we are now, which is obviously all over, the news is all over, given that there's been an internet blackout, given all the unrest, given what you've mentioned about the Anglophone, the marginalization, the history of the Anglophone. In fact, given the subjugation of the media and civil society, what do you predict is going to happen now? Will the people finally be able to win over Paul Biya? Because if I may coin this, I think we should look at this, and correct me if I'm wrong, as the Cameroonian people versus Paul Biya. Whom do you think is going to win this time? And then I'm coming to your calls very quickly, Kathleen.
That's a very good question. And it's really difficult to answer because I've always said, from my optical lens as a journalist speaking to different people and with at least some measure of empirical evidence and the past, especially what is happening in the Anglophone regions. And also don't forget that the North has also been besieged by Boko Haram attacks. What is going to happen is that the country, the way things are going, is going to faction in different pockets of unrest with different warfare happening in different ways because the people no longer want this regime. Right now, there's been calls for ghost towns in other regions of the country, which are not the Anglophone regions, which have already had ghost towns for 9 years. There's been calls for ghost towns. There's going to be the inauguration of the president on the 3rd of November. And ghost towns are being called by champions and CSOs and different individuals saying we need to somehow use people power to get the current regime to succumb to the power of the people. And the only thing people are asking for is the truth of the ballot box. And the regime has dug in its heels, insisting that constitutionally and officially they won the election. So there's been a huge tug of war between the people and the regime, which ultimately, if we continue going in the line of unrest and ghost towns, it's going to be very difficult for even the people in an economic situation which is already inflated, stagnation, lack of growth, lack of infrastructure, and all of that. My wish is that some silo breaks somewhere. Before now, the government had allegedly offered Issa Chiroma Bakare the post of prime minister in the government. And we all know that that post doesn't hold much water because that is not the post currently that runs the government, and he declined. So we are hoping that somehow there's going to be a shift. International bodies would always and only come out and condemn and call for dialogue and all of that. But
what has Macron said? What has Macron said? France is supposed to be the custodians or the granddaddies of Paul Biya. So if you could do that in 30 seconds, what has France said?
The only thing the French diplomatic mission has said, and I think that was yesterday, they came out with a statement calling for restraint and dialogue and literally saying, look, we are condemning this unrest. But I see it as, and this is a historical thing, I see it as France protecting its interests, basically, Ireti.
Yes, indeed, absolutely, because That's literally as empty a statement as diplomatic statements go, right? So I'm going to come to your calls right now. Make it 30 seconds. We don't have much time with Kathleen. Short. Kathleen, grab a pen. I'm going to try and grab 3 questions together. All the lines are going.
Okay.
Do you have a pen and paper near you? Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Very quickly.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. What's your question?
Yeah.
Short.
Yeah. My question is, what is happening now in Cameroon, the unrest? Is it not for Biya deliberately playing to the whims and caprices of the Anglo-Cameroon, the Ambazonians? Because
okay.
judging by
No. I don't have time. We don't have time. So your question is what exactly?
Yes, we already have divided army. Some are backing
Merchant man, we don't have time. What exactly is your question?
That likely
you think Paul Biya is playing?
We already have divided army, and it will split the country into 2. The other one is going to the.
I have to cut you off, right? That's one question. You've got it, Kathleen. Everybody, we don't have time. I've got literally 6 minutes left with Kathleen. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, Cecilia.
Good afternoon. What's your question, please?
Madam Lucky, I come from Bedileki.
Go ahead.
Let me ask your guest, I believe it's, I don't think it's a 92 years old woman. See, let me ask her that if you look at Madagascar, when those people that are supposed to defend the regime, they are no longer there. The man jumped into a helicopter, he ran away. You ask your guest that if those young soldiers and that man is saying they divided, they are women that are the ones suffering it. If they should unite to join the people, do you think that for Biya is a living God that will not...
Right. The question is, if the soldiers could do exactly what we saw in Madagascar, would they be able to get rid of Paul Biya? Let me pick up one more. Hello.
Good afternoon, Ireti. Peter Bond from Songotedo.
Go ahead.
I'd like to ask this question. What is the reaction of AU, African Union, in all this? Knowing that we see African leaders, sit-side syndrome. Look at
I've seen it. I got it.
Okay, I know. So what is the reaction of African Union on this?
Okay, thank you. And I have a question on WhatsApp. Good afternoon, Cecilia, and your wonderful guest. My name is Martin from Ikoyi. I have one question for your guest. Will she come back to borderline? Will she come to borderlines? Of course she can. Leave that. She's my sister. Go ahead, Kathleen. Answer those 3 questions.
Okay. In terms of the EU, guys,
the EU, African Union,
Yeah, the EU and the AU and all of that. The AU congratulated Paul Biya. The EU funds the AU by about 70%. Guys, forget it. I would say don't even bother about the AU. At this point, African nations need to take their own future in their hands. The guy who talked about Madagascar, Cameroon's army is extremely well paid and totally captured. When it comes to state capture in Cameroon, the military, the judiciary, and every single institution is not only captured, it's very focally centralized. So everything comes from one man and one person. It's very hard to have a coup in Cameroon, and that remains to be seen. And then finally, to the first question about Ambazonia. Ambazonia is guerrilla warfare. The guys who are the Amazonia defense fighters literally are people who are sponsored and they picked up arms, civilians who picked up arms, and they're fighting against the army and giving their own directives and laws and all of that in the Anglophone region.
Because they want to secede from the main Cameroon.
They want to secede from the main Cameroon. The fear, like he mentioned, is that if this is something that other regions copycat, for example, if the North decides to copycat that, then we have a very fractured country and we're looking at civil war.
Excellent. Thank you. Hold on. I was just about to answer your call. Call back now. You see, when I'm short with you guys, we can fit in many calls. Hello.
Yeah, good evening, SCO.
Very quickly, short, Emmanuel, short.
Yeah. Do you think Paul Biya is the one pushing this, or people at the corridors of power? Because
excellent. I've got it. Stay listening. I've got it. Right? Is it Paul Biya or other people behind him pushing this? Hello. Hello.
Okay, this is Kenny from
Go ahead,
Somolo.
Kenny. Go ahead, Kenny.
Yeah, just one wish for Cameroonians. I wish them success as they attempt to own their own customers' experience.
Thank you.
Good job.
Right, okay, hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon, or good evening, rather.
Still good. How are you? My name is Sam from Moe.
Go ahead.
I want to thank you for your guest that you have brought. Please, which part of Cameroon is Biya from? Is it from the north, from the Anglophone, or from the east? Or now? What would I say?
Thank you. Stay listening. It's from the north, but I'll let Kathleen give you more information. Right. Kathleen, you have what? 2 questions there. You can... Yes, go ahead. We have what? 30 seconds, 1 minute to... Yeah.
Which part of
Cameroon is
Biya
from?
Biya is from the south.
Oh, it's from the south.
So the central south. Yes, from the south of Cameroon, and it's from the French-speaking region. To the lady that sent her best wishes, thank you so much. God bless you.
Mm-hmm.
And then who is running the country? Obviously, it's not Biya. He's senile. He's 92. In 2019, and this is context, fact. In 2019, his power of attorney. So whatever he's.
Oh, why network? Why? Just when we're about to close. Technical guys, can you do something? It's all frozen. This was so important. Hello. We're gonna have to get Kathleen into the studio. It's frozen. Do I have to go? Technical people, can we get Kathleen back? Is it possible? I think it's from her side. I'm not quite sure. Yeah. This is so annoying at the wrong time, just as we're about to close. Do I have to go now? We have a guest coming on. Another guest, because we're going to be... Yeah, she's gone, unfortunately. It was from her side. Yeah. She didn't have she had calls that were interrupting her life. Unfortunately, that's all we can do for Cameroon. We will get Kathleen back for a longer conversation because it is important. As you all know, we've done a lot on Cameroon in the past. We're going to do it again. Right, we're going to go on a quick break. My next guest, we're going to be talking Sudan. El Bashir, it's not a crisis. The new hashtag is, it's not a civil war. This is coming from Sudanese people. The new hashtag, the new campaign they're saying is, it's not a civil war, it's a resource grab. Let's talk to my next guest and find out exactly what it is.
Above and beyond, but... .3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria